Welcome to the Success Pick and Mix podcast. I'm your host, Nicky Raby, a professional pick and mixer. I'm a personal brand coach, a speaker, an actor, a creator, and a podcaster. I'm on a mission to help you find and create your version of success. Your pick and mix of life and business on your terms. A blend that complements your personality, your goals, and your circumstances. Since 2018, I've been sharing interviews and mini episodes to help you unlock your next step, to make it real and make it happen. Round here, we dream big. We go for the ideal version. We talk about money and make moves our future selves would be proud of. This podcast is free and available for you whenever you need it. So do rate, review, and subscribe for new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices and availability, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests. Now, on to today's episode. In today's episode, I'm talking to Lola Hoad, who is a creative business coach, a writer, a podcaster, and founder of One Girl Band, a collective and a co-working space for female entrepreneurs and creatives. It's based in Brighton if you want to check it out, and that's your neck of the woods. We talk lots about visibility in this episode and finding a way and a rhythm that your business can work in a way that feels really good to you. In the early parts of the episode, Lola talks about mental health and how she's made friends with it and how she has created this business that really works alongside other elements that she wants to nurture in her life. If you want to come and join the conversation, of course, come over to instagram.com/Nicky Raby. We're always chatting about the episode there. Or you can come to my Facebook group, Dreaming and Doing with Nicky Raby. And also, if I may ask, if you like the episode, would you mind reviewing it or subscribing or sharing it with a friend? I would really love that. Thank you so much. And for now, let's get into the episode and chat to Lola. Lola, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks so much for being part of it. I'd love to start by a little introduction, like what you do and what you're all about.
Oh, okay. I'll try and be as coherent and concise.
Can you tell me your elevator speech?
Oh, do you want to hear it? Okay, are you ready? No. I'm Lola Hoad. I am a creative business coach, writer, podcaster, speaker, and the founder of One Girl Band, which is a collective and co-working space for female entrepreneurs and creatives.
Whoa, it's so good. That common denominator throughout is there's a lot of sort of self-development, self-empowerment, all of that kind of jazz and good stuff. How did your journey start? How did that kind of world start to open up for you?
Oh, I mean, I think I very much believe that our journeys never end. Like we're just constantly finding new things, finding different directions and going on different paths, which I think is totally okay. It's totally okay to evolve and to change your mind and to change your direction. But kind of self-development really came into my life when I suffer quite badly from mental health issues, kind of depression and a panic disorder. So I've always kind of had my head in that world, kind of trying to be in air quotes, a better version of myself.
Yeah.
Which I'm it's funny, I'm having a bit of a love-hate relationship with that phrase at the moment, because I feel like, when are we ever going to be the better versions? Are we not like, what's wrong with the versions we are now kind of thing? Yeah. So I'm having like, with self-development in general, I'm having a real kind of a weird time with it. But it mostly came into my life when I was seeing a psychotherapist, and all the stuff she just kind of say one-liners. I'm like, wow, that's just changed my life. Just that line you just said has changed my life. And so I started kind of getting into books and podcasts, and a lot of my friends are coaches and in that self-development world. So I was listening to them, and it was really just just trying to figure out what on earth was going on in my head and how I could really navigate it all.
I think that is so key, because I think certainly when we were at school, it was still very much, the World War One thing of stiff upper lip, keep going, whatever happens, get on with it. It wasn't even mentioned. And I feel like that was only a couple of generations ago, but yet nothing has sort of got easier. If anything, with technology and being available all the time, it's these tools, and as you say, are so needed to navigate what can sometimes be some pretty funky stuff.
Yeah, I just think it's a comfort. It's a comfort kind of knowing, okay, I can work out what's going on. Like I have these tools, I have these resources. And I do think, like I said, I am having such a weird relationship with it at the moment, because I feel like it's turning into it's just going down a path that it wasn't made for, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like we're being told it's our fault, so we need to change. So we need to develop ourselves into these better people. And it's almost like, but are we not okay now? Like, we're not killing anyone. We're not looting. We're not bad people. We've just got stuff going on in our heads. And so I am, as I said, like, I'm having a weird relationship at the moment, but I feel like mental health in general has become less stigmatized because of this self-development era we're in.
Totally. And thank goodness, because I feel like sometimes the world is so glossy, and especially this world of, like we were just saying before we came on the call, of the self-development and everything looking gorgeous and branded and all of that. And it was Freelance Heroes Day yesterday, and I did a Instagram live, and I did that thing of bathing my son and then going, I think just while I lie down with him, I'll just put my Jimmy Jams on as well. And then I had that moment about 7:10 going, oh no, I said that I would do that Instagram live. But do you know what? I did it in my Jimmy Jams, because it was that sense of, actually, this is what freelancer life looks like whether you have a child or a dog or a parent that needs your help, or you're doing something else, that there are different ways of working. And I think it was really lovely, because I got a great response from it, because actually people were like, oh, that's me. Not like I'm sitting there going, I've just had a blow dry and looking fabulous.
Like, it's the reality of it. It's the reality.
Exactly. And how did the workspace occur? So what were you feeling and seeing, and what was going on for you that you knew that you needed to create something that perhaps you weren't finding elsewhere?
So One Girl Band existed before the space. The space opened March 2017, but One Girl Band sort of started May 2015. I'd been in business for a year with my first business, LH Design, which was a paper goods design studio. And it came about completely selfishly, really. I was just feeling incredibly lonely, incredibly isolated, working for myself and not leaving the house and working
which is
horribly long
for mental health.
It's like the perfect cocktail for mental health. Like the long days inside, not seeing friends,
all the voices and the self-doubt. Beautiful.
Forgetting what air feels like. So it was all that, and I was seeing all these amazing women on social media creating their own lives, doing their own stuff on their own terms. And I was so inspired with it, and I absolutely loved seeing it. But I was also crippled by self-doubt and comparison, and just seeing other people looking like they've got their life together. And me just going, I do not have my life together. I don't know what's going on. I'm making no money. I'm working so hard with no payoff and everything like that. And it wasn't until I sort of started connecting with these women and building relationships online that I realized everyone felt exactly the same. And that was honestly it was a revelation. It was just, we all feel this way. It's okay. And I kind of knew I needed to get these women into the same room in real life. So I started doing meetups in Brighton, and they would sell out every time. And I just thought, okay, I'm on to something here. Yeah. This is needed.
Human
this
contact.
Is great.
Where have you been?
Yeah. A human who wants to speak to me. What is this? And it was just the magic you would feel in that room. It sounds so cliche. It sounds so trite, but once I would leave these meetups, I just felt so empowered, so supported, so connected. And that's how One Girl Band was kind of born. And I just kind of kept going with it. To start with, it was my kind of side hustle next to LH Design. But then throughout the years, I realized that's where my calling was helping female entrepreneurs and supporting them and giving them connections and everything like that. So that kind of slowly became my other full-time business. So I was running that, LH Design, and then starting my coaching as well. So I was kind of running 3 businesses at once, which is not recommended. I do not recommend that. And then I've had the idea for the space for years. I just never thought I could actually pull it off. It was always kind of the pipe dream.
Yeah, it's a very grown-up thing to do, isn't it, I guess? Going, hi guys, do you want to come and play in my windy house? It's like a thing, isn't it?
Just a bit too adult, if anything. It's just a bit, it was that little bit too far. But just kind of, it was pure luck. And I know people say, don't say it's luck, it's all hard work, but this really was luck, or it was the universe. It was something happened where we managed to get a warehouse for basically nothing. Had kind of the luck of the draw, and it all came together. It all just kind of slotted in. So then we opened the space, and then I shut down LH Design and decided to focus on One Girl Band and on my coaching. But coincidentally, I think, I'd have so much spare time because I've let go of a business, but I think I have even less time now than when I had LH Design. It's weird.
And what surprises have come from creating the space and bringing those women together?
That 30-year-olds don't wash up their mugs.
Oh my!
That's a big one.
You're joking.
That was kind of that's probably the biggest challenge we've had, and I'm not even joking. But it's gotten so much better.
Like, guys, can you, like, I knew someone who used to live with this guy, and he used to put his initials and a line on how much milk he'd used. So, people, I mean, it just, it gets a bit bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that bad. It was kind of just, just people just not washing up their mugs. And I started with the passive aggressive notes, and I thought, no, I need to be a grown up here. And then I just said it, and then people started washing up their mugs. It's miraculous. Just communication helps.
yeah, totally.
But no, the kind of the serious surprises have really just been that it's working. I really had no clue if it was going to work. I had no experience in real estate or in this side of business or kind of managing people. But we had our community before. We had built early adopters, kind of loyal core, a core group of people who were going to sign up no matter what. So we always had people there. But I think the biggest surprise is that it's working.
Yes. And how have you navigated that sort of sense of CEO or leader, even though sometimes, like we all do when we're going to that next step of really having to, send that less than easy email or ask for something, or I had it a little while ago when somebody recorded my talk without permission, and I had to kind of take a deep breath and sort of handle it, and
kind of let them know that they've done wrong.
Without kind of shouting at them, like a teacher. But what strategies and tools have you used as you've moved into this sort of new chapter?
I think I'm trying to think. Sorry, just had my mind's gone blank. I think kind of the main thing that I kind of carry throughout my day is just don't be just don't be mean, just be nice, but don't let people walk over you. That's a big thing I've had to learn over the past year, is kind of being nice, not being a D word, and just but also just not taking any rubbish, just standing up basically. But the thing I do when I'm kind of navigating those situations, luckily I haven't really had any situations where I've had to kind of lay down the law or kind of assert my power, if that's the right, I don't know if that's the right sentence, but there was no power in what I do. I think it's just being myself with it. So not being mean, not being horrible, not being malicious or nasty, but still kind of communicating in a way that shows that they can't walk over me.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I feel like I've had to zip up some boundaries recently, because I've had a lot of things of, and that's not to say that I'm not, but people are listening going, I thought she was lovely. But, I often get one of the words that people sort of say about me is like, oh, she's so lovely. And I am, but equally, like, I am running a business as well. And I think sometimes you have to tap into that moment of going, oh, actually, I need to look at that, or I need to, just make sure that things are really clear and streamlined and all of that good stuff.
Boundaries are your best friend. Like the day I realised that, it's a hallelujah moment.
Yes, totally. And what's it been like in terms of working alongside other people who are creative and forward thinking and interesting and curious and all those sort of things, rather than working at home? How has it helped kind of not only your working environment, but your whole life?
I mean, it's drastically changed it for the better. I mean, I don't work in the space every day now. I used to be there Monday to Friday consistently, but now, because I'm either up in London or I've got meetings or I need to go and just write for a bit in the silence, in the quiet, so I'm not there all the time. But when I am there, I go because I need to get out the house. So I go as a kind of salvation. But it's staggering how much of a difference it makes. And I'm not saying that to kind of sell co-working. I think if it works for you, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it really has made a massive difference in confidence and motivation. Accountability has been a big thing there. And just really just getting out of the house. Just having that option to get out of the house is a salvation.
And that need to put on a bra and a brush through your hair.
Yeah, having to shower has just changed my working day.
That you're just like, no, because I think that's the thing, isn't it? That you can easily sort of fade onto the sofa, or, I think that's the benefit of it. And certainly before I had Oscar, that everything was a bit more flexible. Now I have him, it's a bit more like, right, I've got 15 minutes, how can I crack on? But I think it was just basically I wasn't using my time properly beforehand. I think I'm just much more sort of strategic now. But I think that sort of purpose of like, let's do this, let's go somewhere else. It kind of gives you that sense of, I'm actually doing this as well.
A lot of the girls say that as they're walking in, as they're kind of like, it's almost like a commute, it's going to work.
Yeah.
And they always just say how productive they are there, because they know that they need to focus on work. That's what they're there for. But whereas when you're at home, you think, oh, I should put the dishwasher on or do the washing up or something like that. There's always something else to be doing.
Yeah. Of course.
Whereas when you have somewhere to go and work and to go and just be you and not worry about kind of just how you're coming across or anything like that, not to worry about any other people and just focus on you, it makes such a difference to productivity and everything.
Yeah, and just that sense of going, what do you think of this? Is that giving off the right tone? Having that other pair of eyes and support is lovely as well. And how did the podcast start as well?
So the podcast started, in fact, a year ago today is our anniversary, which is bizarre.
If I was with you in person, we would have some kind of brilliant cake.
Yes. Oh, I'll always be up for cake. You know that. No, it started, I've been kind of creating content, well, since the beginning, really. I've always written, I've always done blog posts. And One Girl Band actually started as a blog series with my first business. It was called, I think it was something like Being the One Girl Band Behind Your Small Business or something weird like that. And so I've been writing the newsletters and the blog posts, and I've always loved podcasts. I love Adam Buxton and kind of the original podcasters. And it just felt like a natural progression. It kind of felt like there was either YouTube or podcasts, and I knew I didn't want to do YouTube. I don't like speaking on camera, and it doesn't really gel well with me. Whereas podcasting, I love the accessibility of it, the creation, the process. It's fun for me. Yeah. And I think, especially now when there's more and more podcasts coming out, which is brilliant, it's so, so good. But I feel like some people are starting to choose to do podcasts because they feel they have to. And then I hear them go, I hate it. Like, I hate editing. I hate and I'm like, don't do it. If you don't like it, don't do it. It's the same as stories on Instagram. Like, if you don't like it, you don't have to do it. No one is kind of sitting there going, you need to be doing a story right now.
Why are you not being visible?
Yeah. Like, where are you? Who are, like, why aren't you doing a podcast? It's like, you don't have to do absolutely everything. You should only do the things that bring you joy, and podcasting really brings me joy, and writing brings me joy, and it's just the merger of those two things.
Oh, this word comes up so much in the podcast, but that sense of permission as well, of going, just do what you want to do, because also a lot of content creation and putting yourself out there isn't necessarily paid. So as much as you want to serve your eagerly awaiting, perhaps not, audience who might stroll across you as they're eating a chicken nugget or whatever, I want my audience to be in a space where they're engaged, and I don't want them just to, I don't know, stroll around it. That you want to make sure that what you're producing is great and feels like a reflection of you.
Yeah, 100%. Like, everything has to be 100% you. And I say that a lot, but I truly, truly mean it, because otherwise we're going to get a few ways down the road and think, why am I doing this? This isn't me. Like, this doesn't feel right. And I remember when I first had the idea for the podcast, I didn't do it for about 2 years. I really, I think everyone I've spoken to has been like, yep, no, I didn't start until like a year later, because it's right, there's this permission kind of aspect of it all. And I just didn't want to be another white girl with a podcast adding to the noise. I kind of felt like there was enough of that. But like that quota had been filled. I didn't want to take up space, essentially. But when I kind of realized, okay, this is the way I'm going to do this is going to be different from other people. Like, my message is different, my approach is different, voice is different, my swearing's different, like everything like that. I just had this moment where I was like, I just need to do it. I just need to put it out there. Why am I procrastinating this? And the second I submitted it, I mean, I nearly threw up, but it was really just, I've done it. I'm just so glad I've done it. And it could have flopped. It could have done, like, I really didn't care at that moment. I was just like, I'm just so glad it's out there and it's not just in my head, because it had been in my head for 2 years. And I mean, that's crazy talk.
I feel like, I'm just like, everything you're saying, I'm like, yes, I feel like we need to have podcast chat as well, because I felt like I really had to, maybe it was my upbringing, or I was going to say it's a northern thing, but it's not, because you're not, but it's like like a sort of like, because I guess we didn't have social media when we were teenagers or things like that. It's that sense of only speak when you're spoken to, or you don't want to be a show off, or you want to sort of wear the same kappa jacket as everybody else. And I never wanted to wear a kappa jacket, but I was more of an Adidas Damon Albarn type chick. But
amazing.
Totally. Yeah. And it's so weird now, all this 90s fashion is coming back. I'm like, no, still won't get me in an oatmeal coloured crop top with a lumberjack shirt over. It's never going to happen. But I
think that sense of I really had to make sure that I had something to say, because I know people can effortlessly take pictures of themselves in a banging outfit in front of a door. But I do have that thing in the back of my head, like if I'm going to put something online, if I want to share something, it's kind of got to mean something.
Yeah, it's got to have power. It has to have impact. But then I also think it doesn't. It's a catch-22. I feel like
yes,
whatever you have to say is important. And I feel we have spent so long in society, in schools, on social media, that putting down people when they open their mouth and not letting them use their voice. And I think that's where this all stems from. This kind of, I can't take up that space. I can't do this. I don't have permission for this. I think it definitely, I mean, for me, it comes from school and my childhood kind of being told, you're nothing special. Like, you just go back to your corner kind of thing. And you're a bit odd. You're a bit weird.
Together, because we would totally have had a nice lunch together and been like, have you read this book? Yeah, heard of Tony Robbins?
That was me. That was just, I was the odd kid kind of thing. Like, I was very into music. I was always at shows. I was always I was very creative back then as well, and I wasn't really into what all the other kids were into, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying they are bad people because they were into different stuff, but it was more like I felt, I mean, obviously you don't realise until 10 years later, but I
when you're
felt
having
like
therapy.
Yeah, when the therapist is like, this is why, like, of course it is. I felt like I couldn't open my mouth because I was going to be it just wasn't going to go well. And that has definitely been something I've had to work on throughout the years and work on getting through and just giving myself permission. Like, some days I literally just write myself a permission slip. Like, I get a piece of paper and go, you can do this, you're allowed. And then I do it. It's bizarre. It's a really, the human brain is just staggering.
Yeah. I think that's so important about who you share your ideas with and who you surround yourself with as well, because I think 100%. I have had that understanding that actually some people are never going to get it, and that's okay. And like, I always try and have that open heart and curiosity about what other people do. Like, I'm still that person who is sitting next to somebody at a wedding trying to understand what affiliate marketing is or something. And Matt's
so what do you do?
Yeah. And I've had a few wines by that point, so I'm really eagerly listening. But I think as well, if you're out there online, that people will just kind of see it, but like, it's nothing special. But actually, to put yourself out there and to say, this is me, it takes it's the biggest personal development journey of your life, isn't it? Really?
There's such power in vulnerability. It's I think we all have kind of different levels of vulnerability. Some people kind of go all out and kind of put their almost health history online, which is like, there is no, I don't think there is ever too much information. I don't think there's ever too little information. I think it's all just such a personal, subjective thing. Yeah. Some people don't want to put what they've had for dinner on social media, and that is totally fine. Some people do, and that is totally fine. But I think the important thing is that we all have to be just open-minded and just kind of just accepting that people are going to use their voice and use the voice for good. That is something that I feel, with all this kind of authenticity buzz and everything like that, we need to be using it for good and trying to make some sort of change.
Yes. And we're recording this the day after Kim Kardashian posted that silly thing about lollipop.
I mean,
so you're like, come on now. Come on, lady. What is
I have
going
actually, like, this week, it's been quite a bad mental health week, so I actually deleted all my social media off my phone. But it wasn't, I luckily went out last night, so I heard people talking about it, but I haven't actually seen it, but I can just envision what it was. I'm not surprised. I'm really not.
No. And I think it's sort of like as we move through this new era of online and what it means and the sort of sense of like doing stuff for likes, Matt and Oscar and I sort of had a day out in Greenwich the other day, and we ended up walking bizarrely around the O2 in the middle of the day trying to get him to sleep, which was really odd, but it was great for people watching. There were loads of teenagers who were queuing up to see a band that I can't even remember who they were, but like that shows how cool I am. But they were just literally just taking oodles of selfies, posing, let's take it again. And you might have thought that there was loads of, you know, that it was actual photo shoot going on, but it was literally just stuff to put online. And it was sort of quite worrying in a way that you're like, oh gosh, you're there 5 hours earlier. Are you going to keep doing this the whole time?
I mean, I think, again, it's just such a subjective thing. I think if girls want to do that, then they should. Like, if that's something that brings them joy, or they like kind of sharing their lives on the internet, I think that's fine. I really, as long as they're not being harmful towards other people or harmful towards themselves, I think it's fine. But I think it is just what it is now, almost. I think we have experienced, even in the last 10 years, such a shift in sharing, and the internet is definitely a part of that. But it's funny because this week, not having any social media on my phone, I had this realization. Well, I mean, I'm addicted to my phone, and I know I am. I'm willing to admit that.
Like, what have you done in the time that you haven't been on social media? I bet you've built a boat, or like.
Oh no, just sat on my sofa and cried. That's all I've done. It's been a weird one, but it really made me realize that I rely so heavily on one little app just to run my business, to make money, to do what I do. I rely so heavily on that. And it really, I think you have to have these moments of, okay, I obviously still need to show up. I still need to make myself known through these channels, but I need to rely on it so much less. And I think that's what these young people who are growing up today, they're going to have that realization, whether that's this week, in 5 years, like they're going to have that realization of, okay, maybe I don't really want this picture of me online, or maybe I don't really want to be on my phone 24/7, or maybe I do, and that's fine. I think we've all just got to do what works for us, and just not let other people get into it, and to make us feel bad for enjoying something.
Yeah. Oh.
Does that make sense? Have I just gone off on a massive tangent?
No, it makes total sense. And I feel like I wish I'd known that at school. I wish I'd known that when I was trying to just carve out like who the heck I was. And like you, I felt like I was quite different from a lot of the people there. And again, it's not to be mean, because I think some of them listen to this podcast. But yeah, I definitely had a different kind of vision. And, you know, when the careers talk, does the prison officer, you would be perfect. I'm like, really? I'm 5'2". I'm not particularly dynamic in a confrontational situation. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, these tools are so important in these conversations to have out there. Has there been a book that sort of changed things for you that you always come back to, or maybe you just read it once but it was really pivotal?
I think the most recent book that's been like that, I read it in January at the beginning of the year, and it was Start With Why, Simon Sinek. It's just, it really changed. It changed my business. It changed my approach to business. It changed how I do life, essentially. I know that's right, but it just putting the why at the heart of everything you do, you are guaranteed to go far. And not worrying too much about the what, so your products and how you show up, but what you are there to do, like what you are there to make people feel, and how you want yourself to feel, and why you're actually doing this work, and why you're showing up, and just ask yourself why, and it has just, it's helped me kind of to differentiate. I can never say that word. You know what I meant.
I totally do. Yeah.
I had speech therapy as a kid, and I still sometimes when I need to go back.
I do this weird thing where I, like, sometimes Matt just always laughs at me. I test the word behind my hand first, and he's like, "Are you practicing it before you say it?" I'm like, "Yes, I totally am." But we now have a joke about it because he knows exactly what I'm doing.
Oh, that's so funny. But yeah, I do that word, and it made me realise that I was going after things that perhaps I didn't truly want. I was just going after them because it looked like I should. So at the beginning of the year, I had kind of a massive, I call them CEO days, where I just sit down and figure out what the heck is going on, what I want to do, what I want that year to look like.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, it's intense, but it's exciting. It's good fun. But at the beginning of the year, I was like, yeah, I want to get investment. I want to become this female CEO, massive kind of multi-million like empire with staff and everything like that. And then I hit, I think it was March, April, where I just went, I don't want that. I don't want that. Like I want to do things on my own terms, and I want the flexibility, and I want the freedom. I want the money. I do want to make lots of money, and I'm okay with saying that. I don't think that's bad to say, but I don't want that pressure. I don't want that kind of lack of control and everything like that. And I think I was so wooed by this female founder kind of status, and so like, oh, everyone would think I'm so cool, and like the image would just be amazing. But I didn't think of the realities at the time, and I got carried away with what I felt like I should be doing. But when I had that realization, I just stripped everything back, and now I'm going after what I truly want. And that's what you have to do at the end of the day. You have to go after what you truly desire and what you feel will give you the most fulfillment and contentment, rather than the stuff that everyone else is doing.
And how does that feel now that you've made that shift in your head?
I think this is going to sound really lame, but freeing. It was I think we ebb and flow. So we have kind of these peaks and troughs, and we go through different phases. We go through different times, and we are allowed to evolve. Like I was saying at the beginning, we're allowed to change our mind.
Thank God.
I know.
I would have been with some right jackass, type relationship situation.
I mean, it's almost like you realise that every single time. It's like you don't remember it continuously. You have to go through these moments of shift and change and disaster, really. You have to go through these moments of tragedies and horrible stuff for you to go, okay, I'm not living my life in the way I want to. And that was the whole reason I became self-employed. The whole reason why I'm my own boss is to live my life on my terms. And it was really just that realisation of I wasn't living my life on my own terms, and that was defeating the entire purpose of what I was doing.
Yeah. And I like the thing about like live it being the best version of yourself. When I'm not the best version of myself, God, I feel it, and actually I take the most action. And sometimes, in those moments of death or illness or change of circumstance or regret or unpredictability, that's when you kind of go, all right, buckle up, here we go, let's go a different way and figure it out if we can.
You just adapt, and that's what we're good at, humans. We're good at adapting.
Yeah, for sure. I've got one final question for you, which is, where would you like to be in 5 years' time?
I always struggle with this
I
question.
know.
I don't know why. I feel like 5 years, I'm like, wow, that's ages away, but it's not. It's really not. I think I would want to... I'm trying to think of it in like a coherent sentence. I still want to be doing what I'm doing. I want to be helping female entrepreneurs live the life that they deserve and desire, and just giving them the platform to live their life in their own terms. That's definitely my calling. It's definitely what I want to do for the rest of my life. But in terms of kind of the itty-gritty kind of little details of it, Possibly, I don't think I'd be coaching then. I feel like this is just a stage of my career, if that makes sense. I don't feel like it's what I want to do for the rest of my life, which has been an interesting kind of realisation to have. But I definitely still want One Girl Band to be going. I would love to be opening up other spaces around the country and just really just honing in on the brand. Maybe have a book, maybe... I just want to be seen, I think, and that's not in kind of a narcissistic, arrogant way. I want to be seen so that this message of female entrepreneurship and mental health and everything that I talk about it's prevalent.
Yeah, and just being part of the conversation and bringing your flavour to it. There's another coach, I can't remember who says it, but that thing of like, somebody needs to hear it from you. And I know lots of people who listen to this podcast, they may have sort of thought, oh, well, aren't there enough bloggers, writers, small business owners, crafty people? I mean, as in like people who make stuff, not like crafty, but people who make stuff from their kitchen table. And it's like, no, seriously, like, we're waiting for you. I interviewed a couple who have Fred and Noah, the brand, and they create children's wear, and they said for ages they resisted Instagram, and now they have so many followers, and it was like Instagram was waiting for them, like, oh, finally, you're here, we need you, thanks.
No one is you and that is your power. That's what I always say, and it's a very trite quote, but it's just so powerful because it's true. Like, you are you. No one else is you. The way you are going to do things is completely different to what other people are doing. Yes, you might be doing something similar, like title-wise, you might have the same job, you might do the same thing every day, but the way you're doing it is completely different, and that's where the difference is. That's what makes you. That's what makes your business.
Oh, yeah. Yes, and it's so simple, but you just have to be reminded of it, because when you're in that, it's because I think sometimes you're in that fog of like, am I just doing what everybody else is doing? Or it can sometimes be tricky to take a step back. But if people want to get to know more about you and the space and your coaching, and if they're in Brighton as well, they can come down presumably and have a tour. When you said warehouse, I imagined it was like that one in not Sweet Valley High, Heartbreak High from the 90s, where like there's just like cool grungy kids just like hanging around and not going to school. But
it's dusty, it's a little bit cold. It's like a... Do you want to know? Okay, the history of what has been in this building is just hilarious. So it started as a printing company. So they had kind of the old, just massive printers in, I'm not even going to guess the year, a long time ago. And they had like a lift shaft where the printer would go and just everything. And then it turned into an office. So just like a general office for a constructor, I think, for a construction company. And then it was a porn studio. And then
it's lovely.
And then it was...
I hope it had a good clean before.
Oh, I hope it did, because then we went in after. So, well, it was empty for a little bit after, but then we went in. So that's the history of 8 Vine Street, pretty much.
Amazing. God. Well, our house was built in 1910, so who knows what kind of shenanigans has gone on here. And yes, but like, if they want to find out more, where should they go?
So on Instagram, I am at Lola Hoad _, and then One Girl Band is at One Girl Band _. I'm on Twitter. I think it's probably Lola Hoad _.
We'll find them.
You'll find it, yeah. And then just lolahoad.co.uk and onegirlband.co.uk.
Wonderful. Thank
and
you.
The podcast is One Girl Band podcast.
Yes, we're business chart pals, and I'm so happy that we're in there, because we were just saying before that there's a lot of sort of sweaty men sort of talking about hitting hard, the hustle, and oh my god, Exactly. Lola, thank you so much. I've loved our chat. Thank you.
It's so quick.
I know. Anytime you want to come back, I'm always here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you haven't already, feel free to rate, review, and subscribe for all the brand new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices, availability, or just to have a chat with me, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests, and I'll see you next time.